Welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you for always watching and supporting the channel. Who do you think will win in the battle between Apocalypse and Doomsday? The confrontation between the evolved monster and the mutant god? Who will win? Doomsday is a creature created through thousands of deaths and resurrections on the planet Krypton. Each time he is destroyed, he becomes immune to that method, making it almost impossible for him to be killed the same way twice. He possesses terrible strength, superhuman speed, instant healing ability, and terrifying durability. Doomsday does not fight for his ideals, he is pure rage, existing only to destroy everything in his path. Apocalypse's real name is En Sabah Nur, the first mutant in Marvel history. He has the ability to control the molecular structure of his body, transform, heal, teleport, and possesses genius intelligence. He also uses alien technology to enhance his strength and survive for millennia. With the ideology of natural selection, Apocalypse believes that only the strong deserve to survive, and he is the ultimate definition of evolution. Before we dive into the analysis, please click the subscribe button, please remember to turn on notifications, and click the bell icon. Thank you very much. Doomsday is the embodiment of an immortal nightmare, an entity that is virtually impossible to destroy by any conventional means. Each time he is defeated, he not only rises again, but becomes stronger, smarter, and better adapted to whatever threat he once felled. Doomsday's origins began with a brutal experiment on the ancient planet of Krypton. A newborn baby was exposed to the harsh environment of the outside world, where death was always imminent. Each time the baby's body was destroyed, scientists collected the remains to clone him and return him to the same environment, repeating the process thousands of times. The inhumane process not only caused his body to develop an immunity to all forms of attack, but also created a survival instinct. No longer human, he became a symbol of relentless revenge against all that had caused him pain. When he faces Superman, he is not just an enemy. Doomsday is a living warning that there are those who cannot be deterred, cannot be tamed, and cannot be stopped. With his massive body, his muscular structure as if forged from molten steel, and his eyes filled with endless rage, he needs no weapons, no tactics. Every step he takes on the ground seems to shake the space, and every punch is the crystallization of millennia of pain and infinite evolution. Doomsday does not fight for ideals or honor. He fights because that is the only thing left in his instinct to destroy everything before him, without stopping, without negotiating, without mercy. When he meets Superman, it is no longer a battle between good and evil, but a violent collision between the fragile hope of humanity and a primal anger that cannot be controlled. Doomsday is brutal and unforgiving. Each time he is defeated, he not only comes back to life, but becomes tougher, more dangerous, and more powerful than the last time. Each defeat is not the end, but the beginning of a new, deadlier, more ruthless version. His extraordinary durability and strength is when he directly endured Darkseid's Omega Beam, a form of ultimate destructive energy that even Superman had to kneel when exposed. While Superman was at least stunned by this energy, Doomsday was undeterred. He not only held his own against powerful individuals, but was also capable of overwhelming the entire Justice League lineup in the post-crisis era. At that time, even with one hand tied behind his back, he completely overwhelmed members such as Guy Gardner, the second Blue Beetle, Fire, Ice, Booster Gold, Maxima, and Bloodwind, who was actually Martian Manhunter in disguise. The scene was like a towering storm of steel crushing an entire army, each one falling under the weight of blows so fierce and devastating that there was no room for a counterattack. Doomsday even went toe-to-toe with Superman in a battle that lasted several rounds. This was not Superman at full power, but rather an early post-crisis version, much weaker than what would come later. However, the fight was enough to push both of them to the limit. Every punch from Superman was a small explosion, every counterattack from Doomsday was a violent earthquake. Both eventually fell. The power and horror inevitable as the monster known as Doomsday was set free. After the bloody battle with Superman, Doomsday's body was thrown into space by cyborg Superman, until it was caught in the orbit of the planet Apocalypse. It was in this dark place that he faced Darkseid in an epic battle of cosmic proportions. Doomsday did the unthinkable. He defeated Darkseid, the ruler of Apocalypse, with the power of a god. Doomsday did not flinch when receiving an attack with the destructive power of 1,000,000 nuclear bombs. He did not scream, did not stagger, and even laugh. For him, it was a breeze compared to the near infinite endurance his body had evolved over millennia. He was not only an enemy of Earth, but a threat to the entire galaxy. It seemed that his fate would be abandoned among the debris of the universe, but Doomsday was saved by an assistant of Brainiac. After his resurrection, he became a target of Brainiac's control, and his body was taken over, transformed into a perfect bioweapon for the ruthless artificial intelligence's goal of domination. Not long after, Doomsday was once again released and faced off against the current Justice League in fierce battles, not just once but many times. He defeated Wonder Woman in a direct fight. When Superman finally broke Brainiac's control, he frankly admitted that both Orion and Martian Manhunter were almost exhausted and could not hold out against Doomsday for another minute. In response, the Justice League decided to use a series of teleportation devices to contain him. And so Doomsday was imprisoned in the Void, where dimensions continuously swirled and consumed him as a non-physical prison reserved for threats that could not be dealt with by conventional means. However, fate did not let him sleep for long. During the event Our World's at War, the United States government, faced with the devastation of Imperiex, made the bold decision, release Doomsday to use him as a weapon of last resort. When he was freed, he proved his worth by destroying a series of Imperiex probes. Establishing himself as a force that could tip the scales in an apocalyptic war, he doesn't fight for justice, nor for loyalty, but for his primal instinct to destroy anything that gets in his way. Like I said, he's a tool. The only reason he was created was to A, kill Superman, and B, defeat anyone who gets in his way in a fight with Superman. I really hope you subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot, and moreover, you'll get to see awesome videos every day. You're the best. Thank you so much. Apocalypse is one of the oldest and most powerful mutant entities in the Marvel Universe. With the ability to manipulate his own molecular structure, he can freely adjust his body's size, shape, and density. His body can transform into thick metal armor, giant hammer-like arms, and even transform into biological weapons to adapt to each enemy. Apocalypse possesses physical strength that reaches superhuman levels, able to lift thousands of tons without losing any stamina. He is an excellent hand-to-hand combatant and can overwhelm even the strongest superheroes in close combat. His muscles are like living blocks of stone, and each blow has the destructive power of a small-scale explosion. Apocalypse also possesses telepathic and telekinetic abilities. He can fly through space by manipulating gravity around his body, create force fields for defense or offense, and even use telepathy to penetrate the consciousness of his opponents. His ability to read and manipulate thoughts allows him to control the minds of his enemies, and he can absorb and manipulate many different forms of energy. From kinetic energy to electronic currents, he can absorb and transform them to enhance his physical strength, recover quickly, or release them into devastating energy beam. The explosions he creates can incinerate entire battlefields, leaving huge burn marks on the ground and ash where life once existed. Apocalypse is born to dominate and crush anyone who dares to oppose him. With his superior intelligence combined with his nearly indestructible body, Apocalypse is not just a threat to individuals, but a global threat. Control over his own molecules, superhuman strength, speed, endurance, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes, resilience, dexterity, intelligence, and senses. Apocalypse is one of the most powerful beings in the world, possessing genius-level intelligence. He can manipulate matter at the molecular level, control the flow of energy at many levels, from physical energy to abstract forms of cosmic energy. He can fly freely, is immortal to time and disease. His healing ability reaches the point of completely regenerating damaged body tissue. Apocalypse can access the astral plane, project himself into other dimensions, he moves instantly, uses telepathy to transmit information or attack mentally, and has precognition due to his understanding far beyond the limits of linear time. His intellect and foresight are nearly omnipotent. One of his most dangerous abilities is to enhance the power of other mutants, turning them into destructive warriors under his command. He can also transfer his consciousness into other bodies to continue living, ensuring immortality even if his physical body is destroyed. At the same time, Apocalypse can also absorb, manipulate, or steal power from mutants and cosmic entities. Apocalypse once possessed the technology of the Celestials, an ancient race with a level far beyond any civilization. Thanks to this source of power, he could crush anyone, regardless of whether they were mutants, humans, or cosmic entities. However, that technology did not come without conditions. The Celestials placed a price on his power, and he refused to pay that price. It was his arrogance that got him punished. His power was limited, and from then on his role in major battles also changed. Now, Apocalypse's remaining primary ability is the ability to strengthen others. He becomes a power platform for superior individuals, turning them into tools to realize his own ambitions. He approaches dangerous individuals like Sabretooth or Magneto. The opportunity to defeat him will open up. However, it is important to understand that despite his limitations, Apocalypse is still an entity that possesses terrifying power, unparalleled intelligence, and an unshakable will to dominate. The reason why Apocalypse is often seen as a powerful force is that he is a genius with a mind beyond his time, a sharp strategist who knows how to take advantage of every advantage to impose his influence without directly rushing into disadvantageous confrontations. He always calculates carefully, only choosing battles where the possibility of victory is almost certain, avoiding or manipulating situations where the opponent has truly superior power. Apocalypse rarely confronts entities of cosmic scale or power on par with supreme symbols like Thanos, Galactus, Odin, Thor, Celestials, or Legion. The battles that could have established his cosmic status are absent or are shown in a lackluster manner. When he confronts Thor, the battle lasts only a few short moments, revolves around battle suits, and ends quickly when Thor regains the advantage. His power lies in his ability to manipulate the setting, choose his timing, and reshape the situation, rather than demonstrate his power through sheer force. Apocalypse, with all the wisdom and intelligence he has accumulated over millennia, is always a formidable force. But the fact that he rarely puts himself in a confrontation with real power makes one wonder whether his power is truly on par with cosmic beings, or whether it is merely an illusion sustained by his tactical intelligence and ability to choose his enemies wisely. Throughout his centuries of existence and conquest, Apocalypse has come to realize an undeniable truth. The immense energy he harnesses and controls, no matter how powerful, still has dangerous consequences for his physical body. To combat this degradation, Apocalypse has invented and utilized an extremely sophisticated system of physical regeneration, high-tech regeneration chambers designed to completely restore his body at the molecular level. Within these cold chambers, he enters a state of controlled hibernation, allowing each cell to be reconstructed and reprogrammed, returning him to his original state and ready for his next conquest. Apocalypse has also discovered and mastered the art of transferring his soul and consciousness into new bodies. The change of body does not diminish his powerful nature, but rather solidifies his status as an immortal entity, ever renewing, ever adaptable, and ever ready for any form of war. Apocalypse not only lives through the ages, he transforms to master each age, leaving every generation to face a threat that never grows old. Doomsday is the embodiment of infinite evolution. He survives not only because of his overwhelming strength, but also because of his ability to adapt almost instantly to any threat that has ever hurt him. In his encounters with Superman, he has physically modified himself to withstand punches so powerful they would shake the earth. He has even adapted to the Flash's super speed, something very few enemies have been able to do. Even if Apocalypse had more power than Doomsday, in a real-life battle, Doomsday would quickly evolve to catch up. He doesn't stop at resisting, but always evolves to overcome, using his own pain and damage to build a more dangerous version of himself with each passing second. In any sustained battle, it is only a matter of time before Doomsday reaches the same level of power as Apocalypse. Apocalypse is arguably one of the most dangerous characters in the Marvel Universe, especially since he does not rely on any magic or supernatural entities. He is on par with the gods and has been able to defeat even Thor, the Asgardian god of power. However, despite his near unimaginable power, Apocalypse is not completely free of limitations. One of Apocalypse's key weaknesses lies in his Death Seed, the core element that powers his regeneration. While a single drop of blood can restore his body, the seed is not invincible. Doomsday, on the other hand, is virtually indestructible. Not only can he survive attacks on the scale of planetary explosions, but he has also developed an immunity to any attack that has ever damaged him. Apocalypse has limits in terms of technology and primitive nature, while Doomsday has no clear stopping point. He is always evolving, always learning with each blow, and each time he falls, he comes back more dangerous. Therefore, in a long and merciless war, Doomsday is the embodiment of an indelible nightmare, an ever-evolving ghost. Apocalypse is a mutant entity. He He can manipulate matter, control energy. Although not all of these abilities are clearly demonstrated in battle, it is undeniable that Apocalypse possesses them as a potential arsenal. Apocalypse is a calm strategist, always calculating carefully before taking action. When confronting Doomsday, he can completely apply the tactics used with the techno-organic virus to test on the Doomsday virus strain or exploit potential weaknesses in the opponent's evolutionary structure. With his superior intelligence and ever-expanding arsenal of power, Apocalypse can develop custom biological or energy weapons to confront evolving entities like Doomsday. However, it must be admitted that Doomsday is a special opponent. He does not fight with strategy or planning, but with pure survival instinct and extreme adaptability. Each blow he receives is a time for him to learn and transform so that he is not vulnerable to that same blow in the future. In a long battle, it is easy to see that neither side can easily win absolutely. Apocalypse is superior in intelligence, technology, and strategic analysis. He can create new abilities, transform the environment, create suitable forms of power to deal with each stage of Doomsday's evolution. Meanwhile, Doomsday is an unstoppable challenge, ready to absorb every attack, adapt, and come back stronger. Doomsday can adapt to space, planetary cores, and even warped reality. Apocalypse is no different, as he can adjust his body structure to survive anywhere in the universe. If necessary, he can completely regenerate himself from just a small portion of his cells. In the end, this will be a merciless battle. Neither side can be defeated easily, and neither move will be effective for long. Apocalypse is the sophisticated brain of cosmic warfare, while Doomsday is the raging heart of destruction. The collision of these two entities is a never-ending nightmare for anyone who witnesses it. Hope you enjoy this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thanks a lot.